Welcome everybody back to Deposit That Podcast. This is going to be the first episode leaked in 2020. We are recording it live today as well. So welcome everybody, Matt Fede, to the show. Matt, thank you for coming in today. I know it was a struggle getting here from Nutley, New Jersey, all the way to New York City.
Thanks for having me.
What was your experience like riding the train the way here? Did you like it?
No.
Why not?
I just, I used to do it every day. I don't particularly enjoy it anymore. It just, it hasn't changed in 20 years since I started coming into the city. I started coming to the city almost 30 years ago.
Wow.
And, it still hasn't looked like they cleaned the PAT station since.
Interesting.
It's a different hustle and bustle when you're away from it. I've been away from, I used to commute to the city every day. I haven't commuted to the city in 5 years. And it's something that you never, ever get comfortable with.
So now you own your own real estate brokerage company in Nutley, New Jersey now, but what was your background in prior to getting into the real estate business?
Well, let's talk about the city. I started coming into the city when I was about 16 years old. I started working for there was a company in Harrison called ROP Color. And I was a horrible student, number one.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, it was horrible. I was F and D's. How close do I got to be to
There
this?
you go. You're good.
Just pull it a little closer. Good. Let me pull it a little closer.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. Better.
Yep.
All right. So what wound up happening is I got a job as an apprentice working first in design publications, or actually fashion magazines, Women's Wear Daily, National Lampoon, and Channels publications. I was what they called an apprentice. I started coming into the city at 16. And back in the late 80s, New York was totally different than it is now.
Sure.
42nd Street
Rough.
was, you ever see the movie Taxi Driver?
Mm-hmm.
That was 42nd Street. He knows what I'm talking about. That's what 42nd Street looked like. And I was telling you on the train, my first experience walking into New York City, I'm walking down 42nd Street, and I got punched square in the chest by this gentleman who I assume at the time was a pimp, because that's exactly what he was dressed like.
Wow.
And so it was welcome to New York, punch in the chest. So I figured anything after that point was uphill.
But that's kind of like how New York is, though. Kind of in your face, punch in the chest. It's going to rock you and let you know you're here.
Yeah. Literally, I got punched in the chest. So I remember I was working for a gentleman named Bill Van Jura. He was my manager. And he gave me a pocket full of quarters, because back then we didn't have cell phones, so we had to use those disgusting old payphones. And he gave me a map of the city. He goes, "Here you go." That's how I learned how to get around the city. So fast forward a couple of years later, I started going to School of Visual Arts. I was a design major. And I started to learn more about the city. I was in the city every day. And it's this is the first time I was on a PATH train in 5 years. And it was shocking to me, because I'm so accustomed to a slower pace right now. Because my town of Nutley, I designed my life where my house where I live is literally 2 minutes to my office, and my clientele is within that 5 to 10 square mile radius.
Sure.
I told you yesterday,
Sure.
I never leave Nutley.
I know. You don't need to.
I don't need to. And so I had to adjust my head today, because I had to jump on Route 3, I had to go up, I had to sit in the traffic for the tunnel.
Anxiety, all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, parking space was
Parking alone.
Parking. If I didn't have you to assist me in finding a spot, I would have still been driving around Hoboken. So going back to what I did was, I started working for some creative companies, and I started to get involved in the creative field. And real estate was kind of the farthest thing from my life. I in the early '90s, fast forward a little bit, during the .com boom days, when everybody and their mother had a .com. I remember there was a site called angryman.com. It was Angryman, yourmother.com, pizzaguy.com. Everybody had a .com. I started working for a company called about.com. Before that, they were the Mining Co. We had an office in Times Square, in the heart of everything. And when you're doing that every day, you get into this rhythm. And today, what I experienced coming in here, that was my everyday.
Did you like that at the time?
I did, but I was also your age.
Yep.
I was also in my early 30s,
right.
And I would get up at 9 o'clock to be at work by 10 o'clock. It was always that. Now today, I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock,
right.
And I don't have to be in my office till 11 o'clock. It's kind of weird how work kind of
evolves,
takes off. So I worked in the .com field, and this is when you know, they were just giving you a job. You know, recruiters would call you starting at $80,000 a year if you could design a website, and we were selling websites for $1 million a pop to like Volvo and Ford and all these different companies. So I get involved with that, and I remember coming into the city one day because I was living in Nutley, and I would drive up to the waterway because I preferred that to
Yeah,
the
it's
station.
much more pleasant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more pleasant. It was a lot more cheaper. It was a lot cheaper back then also.
Sure.
That's when the waterway was just one wooden pier that would shake in the wind.
Yeah.
Now it's like this big behemoth thing. Going to the city, you know, we had a great time. We could get to work anytime we wanted. We were selling websites like crazy. And then I started looking at business, and I remember I was sitting there, and the CEO at the time was this gentleman by the name of Scott Kernet. He's still around. He's a VC. He started a bunch of other successful .coms and companies. He would say, you know, hey, yeah, we only lost like 90 million this quarter. And we were like, yay! Because the previous quarter we lost 120 million. Right?
Yep.
So I'm sitting there watching this business evolve. We were up to 750 people in Times Square. And every Wednesday we were renting out another club, and all the employees would go and we would party, have a great time. This is where real estate starts to come in. My friend says to me, a lifelong friend I had, he was an investor, and he owned a bunch of apartment buildings in North Newark. And he said, you know, you're making a lot of money. You gotta get involved in real estate. And I said, fuck that. I don't want nothing to do with realtors. They're used car salesmen. They're full of shit. I'm making a lot of money. I'm gonna buy cars. I'm dating girls, and I'm going to have dinner. I don't want nothing to do with it. He was like, you're making good money. Now, at the time, I think my salary was like $75,000, $80,000 a year. This is 93.
Yeah, long time.
And I had Panasonic as my own client. They were bringing me in more money than my salary. I'm a single guy living in an apartment in Rutherford now, the size of this room.
Right.
My rent was $500 a month.
Yeah, so you got a ton of,
My car payment was $180 a month.
yeah, ton of disposable income.
Disposable income isn't the word. And I remember going out with my friends on a Thursday, Friday night. They had no money. I would pay $500, $600. It was no problem.
Yep. Been there.
My friend convinced me, you got to buy a building. So I'm like, I don't want to be a landlord, you know? My parents never owned a home. My grandparents never owned a home. My grandparents lived and rented the same home for 75 years. Could you imagine that? You're renting a home for 75 years. Unreal. But they took care of it like it was their own.
Yeah, it was theirs, basically.
Right.
I think they're grandfathered in at that point.
Basically, right?
75 years.
75 years. It went from the landlord to the son.
Yeah.
Right? So I was taught zero about money. I was taught zero about business. Basically, you know, my father was a truck driver. My mother was a waitress. You know, I was the first one in my family to go to college, and I went to an art school, which everybody says, hey, art school, you're better off being a waitress.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially from Newark.
Yeah, right, exactly. So kind of had a lot of things kind of stacked up against me. My education was the street. I grew up in Newark. It was basically you had to hit harder in order to get your point across. So I was always taught that you had to, you know, be physical and you had to be intimidating. And those were all the people around me. And that's how I was taught up until I was like 18 years old. Not until I got into art school and I started meeting some people I call mentors. And I was never into drugs. And I was never into smoking pot or drinking or anything. I don't think I had my first drink until I was like 24. Okay? Because my father, the one thing he did do, he may have not been a good role model per se in business or anything like that, but he said, here's how it's going to go down. If I catch you drinking or smoking pot, I'm just going to kill you. He put the fear of God in me.
My dad said that to me about pot. Yeah, if you get caught with drugs,
you get caught, I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah, you're dead.
I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's all there was to it.
Yeah.
So I never got involved in it. I get in college, get in art school. I start meeting mentors, and this is a little before I get involved in .coms. So I got into my work. Progressively, when I got into my work, everything got better. And I started opening up my mind to
Do you feel like you got lost in work?
Yeah. I got into this thing what they call flow state. which if you ever understand that, you understand it from sports and everything else.
Yep.
You get into this flow, and days and will go by, and minutes go by, and years go by. So fast forward again, back to the real estate. My first piece of property I buy in North Newark. My friend says to me, I'm going to sell you this building for $113,000. This is in 1996. 3-family home in North Newark. Interest rate on my mortgage was 17%. Could you imagine even being anywhere near 17% today?
Or 7% even.
Even, right.
Yeah.
So 17%. I buy the building for $113,000. My friend says to me, I'm going to stay on with you for about a year and teach you this business. I didn't realize the education he was giving me.
And you didn't value or appreciate it. I'm sure you didn't know.
No, I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So we pull up, and now I'm happy because I own a piece of property. My parents never did. And I own a piece of property. I'm like, wow, I'm a proud homeowner. I got to go there. I got to clean the building up. I got to get it working. I got to meet the tenants. Got to make nice. I walk in, and people are moving out of the building. And I turn and look at my friend. He, in turn, just falls on the ground laughing at me because he saw my face. He goes, what are you worried about? I go, the one lady walked out.
The
and
money's
said,
coming out.
She's like, we're leaving.
Yeah.
And she had a TV in her hand, and her kid had some garbage bags, and they're leaving. I'm like, where the fuck they going? They got to pay the rent. He's like, you ain't getting the rent from them, bro. And I said, oh, my God. And then I go upstairs. I knock on the door. I go, hi, my name is Matt. She goes, hi, my name is Jackie. She says to me.
My first tenant's name was Jacqueline. How funny is that?
Yeah, she says to me, to my face, I have your rent money, but I ain't giving it to you. I was like, what am I going to do? I run back downstairs. I said, hey, Jared, she says she has the rent money. She's not going to give it to me. He goes, and what are you worried about? I go, she said she don't got the rent money. I got to put out, the $1,200 for the mortgage, So he goes, come with me. I go, where are we going? I could tell the story now. He says, we're going to go to the hardware store down the street. I'm going, what are we doing? He goes, they make these things called knife valves. He goes, pick up 2 of them. So I go into the store. I go, listen, I need 2 knife valves. The guy gives me, I didn't even know what a knife valve was.
I still don't know.
Well, the valve with the handle on it. You could turn on and off.
Gotcha.
Right? So we go in the basement. Now, granted, he never kept this building up. There had to be roaches the size of my cell phone down there, right? And he said, yeah, don't worry about it. Come in the back. And there was a room in the back where the boiler was, and we called it hell because it literally looked like hell. I would have paid people to go in there rather than me go in there.
Right.
We go in there, and he looks up, and he goes, see those 2 pipes right there? And I go, yeah. He goes, that's how you're going to get your rent money. I go, what do you mean? He goes, they're called water lines. And I said, and what are you doing? He goes, watch. He cuts the lines. He puts these 2 knife valves. He turns them off. I go, isn't that illegal? He goes, trust me. I go, what do you? He goes, when she calls you, tell her to call me. Now, this is Friday. I leave. Half hour later, I get a phone call. Mr. DeFede, this is Jackie. So now I'm Mr. DeFede. When tenants...
Your title will automatically change. Now she needs something.
When tenants call you, when they call you by your last name,
They need
something up. They need something. She goes, we don't have any water. I go, well, hold on. I go, here, Jerry, here's the phone. Jerry picks the phone up and says, what's the matter? Oh, we don't have any water. He says, that's a shame. He goes, well, if Matt had the rent money, he could have paid the water bill. But since he doesn't, we'll see you Monday. And he hung the phone up on her. Never had a problem with her paying the rent again after that. But it was one of those things that...
Eye-opening.
It was eye-opening. And I said, wow, this is how, this is a rough business, man. So what happened after that was I bought another building. I bought a bunch of buildings. I wound up at one time having 17 units without even realizing it. And then I'm thinking back and I go, wow, my parents never even owned one home, So there's something to this. So as my real estate business was happening, I was still in the creative field. And I stayed in the creative field full time until I opened up my brokerage. So I went to work for some, I was working for, I worked for Merck, I worked for Kraft, I worked for CBS, I worked for, what's it called? I worked for JP Morgan, I worked for Guggenheim Hedge Funds, I worked for a bunch of major corporations, and in turn, I was learning this whole thing about media and marketing. Then social media came into the play and everything else. So I was working for Coldwell Banker, and I was with Keller Williams back in the early days, like 2004, around there.
Wow, that long ago.
Yeah, and before they were known as what they are today.
Yep.
And I met a gentleman, and I'm gonna say his name. His name is Mark Werner, and he's up in West Milford, and he's 10 years younger than me, and he taught me this business. Like, Mark was a prodigy.
10 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Wow, God bless him.
Mark was a prodigy in the real estate business. You know, he opened up his first Keller Williams when he was 19.
Wow.
Yeah. And I went to work. Well, let me back up a little bit. 9/11 happened. I wanted to get out of Nutley. I moved up to West Milford for about 13 years. I met Mark. Mark built my house. Me and Mark argued with each other, sued each other, and then we became friends.
That's usually how it goes.
And then I remember when I got my real estate license, like, Mark came to me and goes, "Hey, I heard you got your license." I go, "Yeah." He says, "I want you to come work for me."
I need my legal fees back.
That's exactly what he said. He goes, "I know you're going to make me even more money."
Yep.
And that's what happened. And then I went to Coldwell Banker. The same gentleman who got me involved in investing in real estate convinced me to go to Coldwell Banker because he was now managing a Coldwell Banker in Nutley. And that's where I went. And then I went to another Coldwell Banker. I wound up going up to Wyckoff. I was at Coldwell Banker for about a good 10 years total. And then I decided one day, me and my ex-wife, we were going to open up a small office in Nutley because we're both from the area. She grew up there as well, and my family was from there too. And we were just going to be a mom and pop. I opened up an office the size of this room here, and it was just going to be us doing 2 to 3 deals a month, raising our kids, and life was going to be fine. Lo and behold, really executive got involved with me. It turned out to be something different. Wind up growing the office. And it's only been 5 years, and it feels like 500. And we built a rather strong brand. And my take on it was a little different. I took all my experience from being in the creative field for 29, 30 years, and I used that to build my business. And I always tell people, we're a marketing company that just happens to sell real estate. That's the way I look at it. It's not the traditional sense. I build a lot of content. I teach my agents how to build a lot of content. I only have a dozen agents, and I'm not looking to build out an office where I have 50, 60, 70 agents. I don't want that.
You don't need them.
No. I'd rather have a smaller group of people doing good quality work and building out good content.
That are loyal and listen and work their ass off.
Right, exactly. In this industry, I always say, and statistically, the failure rate, 87 out of 100 agents will fail in this business.
I think it's probably higher than that
You think it's
overall.
even
I think it's 87% at least in New York City. I think it was something like 94% quit in their first year in New York City. 98% of them don't close a deal in their first year in New York City. So obviously Nutley is obviously a different area.
It took
it's something high like that.
It took me a year to do my first deal,
which you should, because you have no experience coming in.
Right. And I always say I think they really need to raise the bar.
But you probably wanted 100% split. Your broker couldn't make any money. That's today's day.
No, when I got
50-50.
hired, it was 50-50, and by the time Coldwell Banker got done with me, it was like 60-40, 60 to them.
Yep.
I don't know what's digging into my ear over here. But anyhow.
Let's talk about the power of social media real quick. So I know
Sure.
that, so my outlook, I was quiet on social media. And by quiet, I mean, I was told by the higher-ups, the dinosaurs, don't post anything personally on Facebook. Don't post anything personally on LinkedIn. Don't post any business on Facebook. And then when I merged my two lives back in 2014, I started slowly integrating randomly posting on Facebook, right? LinkedIn was always LinkedIn, so that was always there. Now, in today's world, right, when you become active on social media, you get to know somebody, you get to attract somebody, usually of like mindset, or controversially, on the opposite side, someone that disagrees with you wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. We met through Facebook. Became friendly on Facebook, messaged each other for probably about a year and a half, even more so than before we even met. So talk to us about your experience marketing not only your company on social media, but you using Facebook as a platform to educate people and show people how you're doing business.
I had, when I first started doing video on Facebook God, it had to be like 05, 06.
That long ago.
Yeah, a long time ago we were doing it. I even had a little quick cam I would
Mhm.
take around me. You know, a lot of the brokers laughed at me. They made fun of me. They would joke. And then when I got on Facebook, I remember when I started first posting my listings on Facebook and talking about real estate, you know, I got jumped on. Oh, you can't do that. That's against the code of ethics and the whole deal. Same thing they're trying to do now with exclusive listings. That new law, and we'll talk about that, our new rule. A lot of people, you know, they always scoff at new media. Look at Facebook is the biggest Facebook is the biggest media network out there right now, and they produce zero content. Wrap your head around that. Okay?
Zero
content. They don't produce any content
None.
at all.
No, it's a platform.
It's a platform. But people laughed at Facebook. People laughed at Instagram. People laughed at YouTube.
I think YouTube's the next big thing.
It's growing. I don't know why G Plus and Google Plus didn't make it. I think because
I don't think they wanted to. Google's a marketing company.
Google's a marketing company, yeah. But they had the backbone of Google.
Yeah.
You know, today, if you look at this phone that's sitting right here, this phone has more power than all the computers combined during the Apollo moonshot landing. Think about that.
Crazy.
I think we take a lot of this technology for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right now, if I look at all my social media accounts combined, I have about 55 to 60,000 followers, right? At any moment, I could say something and get it out there.
Instantly.
And I had this conversation this morning with someone. It doesn't matter if one person sees my post or a billion people see my post. But do something wrong and watch how many people notice.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Completely.
I censor myself to a certain point. I've been known to have some very strong viewpoints. And I think it's because
I think that it's fueled. I'm going to answer that for you, right? I'm not going to let you answer that because I think I have a pretty good idea of who you are internally. Mm-hmm. I think it's fueled from experience. I think it's fueled from being hurt. And I think it's fueled from passion. You know, you're like, wait, this doesn't make sense. Hello, look at me, red flag. I'm trying to show you something, kind of like I did. I feel like that's why we connected.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that ever came out that was, listen, behind the scenes, I was an animal. I'm still an animal. And I'll still rip somebody's head off over email, text, or in person if you're going to combat me on something that I'm 100% confident in, right? Like, this is wrong. I'm showing you it's wrong, and I'm giving you the solution, and you're telling me it's not wrong. I'm like, it's freaking wrong. Was the whole Zillow thing. That's where we connected. In
Zillow
2017,
That's right, Zillow.
in March of 2017,
Right,
I
Zillow.
came out and said, fuck Zillow. Got shirts that said fuck Zillow.
I remember
like,
that, yeah.
Everyone's like,
that
Jeff,
was a great campaign.
You're not professional. We're not going to give you business anymore. A realtor's like, I'm not sending you clients. I get all my business from Zillow. I'm like, you never sent me a client anyway in the first place. Like, oh, fucking shame on me, you know?
Right.
But like, I'm passionate about it because I'm like, I saw what they did. I told you the day Zillow IPO'd, I took my life savings, $52,000, and put it into Zillow stock. I had no money in my bank account that day. $52,000 into Zillow. It went up, whatever, $5 a share. I sold out of it, and that was it. But I was probably the first lending advertiser in New York with this girl, Christine Ra, okay, in I think 2011 or 12, whatever year it was that it came out. And we had the Washington Heights, Harlem zip code, and it was like $200 a month. It was literally the first one.
Right.
So I'm like, look, I was first to the party. I was endorsing it. I believed in it. Then their market strategy and tactics shifted to now we're going to basically shake everyone down for money. You're not getting any value from it. I don't buy it anymore. And I'm being told I'm the bad guy because I'm exposing this thing that's trying to put people out of business.
Well, that conversation has changed now.
Huge. Now everyone's like, you were the first person to say it.
And I remember that. Fuck Zillow. I remember that. And I said that I don't allow any of my agents, none of my agents, number one, pay Zillow for leads.
Right.
And that's the reason why I preach so hard about building your own content. Build your own lead database. Build your own lead gen. Just take some time to do it. Zillow, let's face it. The one thing Zillow did better than the National Association of Realtors was build a better consumer front-facing product.
National feed.
Right.
A national feed, literally. A national MLS.
And even Realtor.com, like, we don't own the fucking thing.
At all.
Realtor.com is owned by Move.
Yep.
And I get calls from Realtor.com, Homes.com, Zillow.com.
Advertise with us.
I don't want your advertising.
Right.
You know, I don't want your advertising. Well, you know, we can get you more leads. I don't want leads. I want relationships. Okay? That's the difference. And I tell people, I don't call for sale by owners. I don't go after expireds. I build content. And I build what they call pull marketing. HubSpot's been doing it for years. HubSpot tried signing me on 15 years ago, right? Because I got the idea of building content. This is content. Content. Everything's content. Build content. Show what you know. Could be good, could be bad. Every podcast, every video doesn't have to be a fucking Hollywood production.
Well, it was funny. Right? I'm going to give you the example of if we had time, maybe what we'll do is we'll let a recording go of this voicemail the guy left you. So I want you to walk me through what happened with the voicemail that you played for me earlier, and I'll put my 2 cents in on it. Give me a brief synopsis of what happened.
So basically, the gentleman called me. He had 4 properties he wanted to sell. I called him back, followed up. Like I always return my calls, especially if they're clients. I always return all the time. I'm always available for my clients. I said to him, he called me and I got him on the phone. He said, yeah, I already have it listed with another realtor. Just bring a buyer. And I said, that's really not how I work. He had multiple properties, not just one property. I said, come into my office, sit down. Let's come up with a game plan, marketing strategy.
Which is the right thing.
Right.
100%.
If you want to release your current broker, and I could show you how we could get the property sold for you. His comment to me was, I don't have the time for that. So tell me over the phone. So I don't believe in doing.
Well, it's devaluing you. It's shitting on you. It's telling you, I'm not going to follow your proven system that you've shown and documented works. I'm going to do things my own way. And that's why your houses aren't selling.
What's the point?
Right. Now you want to waste my time and jerk me off for nothing.
Right. So I said, listen.
The penny pinch me.
Yeah, right. And that was the other comment. Tell me what your commission is. I have 2 rules. When I speak to a home seller and the first word out of their mouth is, what's the lowest commission you can give me? Right. That's when I pack up and leave. When I'm hiring an agent.
You actually probably want to kick them in the teeth, I'm assuming.
I just leave. It's not even worth it. Not worth the lawsuit. So the other thing is when I hire agents, let me just fix this. This thing is like, when I hire agents.
You were never a DJ, were you?
No. This thing squeezed in my head. It's like a grape. So when I hire agents, if the first word out of their mouth is, how much is my commission split?
Hey, what's my split?
I tell them nothing because there's a door.
Hey, here's the door.
Okay?
Yep. I agree with that completely.
The reason why I have a small office and I like it that way is because everybody that's in my office has signed on to be with me. They don't care about commission splits. They care about business.
The culture, the environment.
They care about the environment. They want to learn this business. They want to learn what I have. They want to learn how to do what I do. And I'm an open book. I'll show you. I will show you what to do. But 99% of the time, they will not do it. I go online all the time. I have my Facebook Live video. I go on and I tell people, this is what I do. They listen to it, and then they're off to the next seminar.
It's funny. In 2011, in May of 2011, I made $100,000. I've told people multiple times. I made $100,000 at age 24 to myself in 1 month, right?
That's great.
Crushed it, killed it. And next month, it was June of 2011. I was sitting down with this guy who was thinking about moving companies, this and that. He did like $5 million a year in business. Like, oh, great, I just fucking closed $6 million last month, and you want to sit down and do 5? But okay, fine, that's what you got to do. Comes in, he's like, yeah, I want to make 2 points in every deal. I'm like, well, I don't make 2 points in every deal, and I just fucking did what you did in a year, in a month.
Right.
Like, what are we talking about here? Do you want me to teach you how to do $20 million a year in business so you can make $200,000-$300,000 to yourself, or do you want to sit there and make $100,000 a year for the rest of your life? Yeah. And he couldn't grasp the concept. I'm like, I probably at the time said, just get the fuck out of here. Like I have 50 people I got to call back.
Yeah.
But that's people.
Yeah.
They would rather make more for doing less, and then eventually they go out of business.
Well, let's go back.
And have no mentorship or leadership or anything else.
That goes back, circle back to the conversation about the guy who called me, who I abruptly hung up on.
Disconnected.
Going back, because he didn't see the value. He called me. He didn't see the value in what I do. So why would I go into a losing proposition?
But again, this isn't defending you or defending the industry. That's not his fault, because your industry is weak and sucks, and it has more dead fish in the sea that are saying they're swimming when they're sitting at the bottom of the ocean.
A majority of agents are looking for the magic button, the magic pill, and I'm going to tell you in 2 seconds what it is.
It's a fact.
They're looking for the magic course.
The get rich quick scheme.
It's called work. It's just called work. I don't care how you do it. I don't care what you do it with. I don't care if you do it with smoke signals. I don't care if you're consistent and you do the work. If you do the work will take care of you. That's how it is. I put in at least, if I had to add my hours up, minimum 60 to 70 hours a week. 7 days a week. Even when I'm off, I'm still working. You know
Always
why?
mentally.
Because number one, passion, right? I enjoy the work. This isn't work to me. That's why I'm up at 4:35 in the morning. You know, sometimes I'm up at 5 in the morning. I got one of my mortgage guys I work with, Alex Cardasso. He jumps on the phone, be 5 in the morning. We talk about stuff. We talk about things. We talk about the business. I got other people I talk to in the industry. Talk about business. How's it going? What are we thinking? Today's conversation, I had conversation with 2 people before I even left my house about this whole thing that NAR's doing with exclusive listings.
Yeah, let's touch on that.
All right, so National Association of Realtors, in their infinite wisdom, decided that they're going to limit what they call pocket listings and exclusives. So basically, a pocket listing is this. Jeff, you have a house. You're thinking about selling. Hey, Matt, you're a realtor. If you come across a buyer looking for a house like this, let me know. And I go out there and I throw it out there. I put it on my Facebook. Hey, anybody looking for it? Blah, blah, blah. And I call Jeff. We do a deal. Well, now NRA has decided if you can no longer do that. You have to put it on the MLS. Okay? If you're taking an office exclusive where you're not gonna co-broke it, and you're going to make it an office exclusive, you can do that, but you're not allowed to post it publicly. How the fuck is that going to happen? How can you tell me I'm going to take an exclusive listing and I'm going to print out the piece of paper, put it on my office, table, and that's it. It's going to sell. I can't post it on my personal Facebook page. I can't post it on Instagram. I can't post it on LinkedIn, Snapchat, TikTok,
Anywhere.
YouTube, Tumblr, LinkedIn. And then the other question is, who the hell is going to police all that shit? This is the NRA pandering to the weakest link in real estate. The people that complain and don't want to do the work and can't get listings because it's tight inventory.
Well, the Association of National Realtors, I mean, they're the worst to begin with. They're led by people
dinosaurs.
that are 75 plus years old.
They're
They're like, oh, we still need a rate sheet and we still need to have our listing printed out with a click of a button. You can hit 17 different platforms.
These are the same people that last year spent $100,000 to redesign a logo. The pushback was so bad.
$100,000 to redesign a logo?
They had to retract it and not launch the new logo. Because they thought that was going to bring in business. Rather than take the money they're spending on all this bullshit.
Make a national MLS.
And come up with a national MLS and combat what Zillow is doing to our industry.
Or even provide education to the industry or something that makes people more valuable and educated.
The problem is, rather than attack what's attacking our industry, they go after the agents all the time. And I really don't think the National Association of Realtors cares if a realtor does 1 deal a year or 1 billion deals a year.
Right.
Because they're going to get the same amount of dues for them every year.
Yep.
And it's
a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. So this new ruling that they came out with about, hey, now this affects especially people in for instance, it affects everybody across the country. And let's talk about Manhattan real estate, which I'm not even a part of, nor do I want to be. So let's talk about, now I know companies like Douglas Elliman and all these, they have a certain lock on certain parts of Manhattan. Mm-hmm. They don't put their listings on an MLS.
No, they have their own internal MLS inside their company.
Right.
Their own company MLS. And
now
they also have StreetEasy.
Now you're saying that, hey, you got to put it on. There's not even an MLS for Manhattan, for what I understand.
So there is one. I got involved. I lost about $48,000 in 2014. I paid for a whole entire event, literally out of my own pocket. $48,000. I think it was maybe more.
For an MLS in New York?
It was $45,000 to $50,000, and my goal was to come in and bring the MLS into Manhattan because I was getting deals in Manhattan, and agents weren't cooperating. It was just a total fucking nightmare shit show. They were trying to get my clients that I worked with for 3 years at the time to Citibank, Wells Fargo, Chase, because they were the ones paying for their big luxurious open houses. And I kind of basically said, okay, I'm going to take my $48,000 loss and I'm going to go to Harlem and close some FHA deals. And that's what I did. I'm like, I'm not playing in Manhattan because I'm not dealing with these momos at this point. You had everyone who thought who they were 75 plus years old back then telling me what to do. I'm like, you guys are doing it wrong. You guys are sitting showing up here. Like, you guys still look like your picture from your headshot in the 80s. Like, enough's enough now. So I tried bringing the Bronx Manhattan MLS into Manhattan. Unfortunately, the people that ran the
Wait, there's an MLS for Bronx.
Bronx, Westchester. So Westchester and the Bronx
Oh, so
have
there
one
is an
MLS.
actual MLS.
Correct. And they just merged, I think, with like Hudson
But
Valley or something like
Manhattan
that.
still does not have it.
Brooklyn has an MLS, but most of it goes into the Manhattan Street Easy and Queens, Long Island
But
MLS.
Street Easy is owned by Zillow.
Yes, now, yeah. Which is
All right,
that
so
was their
there's
move. That was their move.
There's not even an MLS. So basically,
There's no MLS in
every
Manhattan.
listing
That's
is
utilized because Rebney came in and they didn't want MLS in Manhattan. They
So-
wanted to maintain full control. And why I think so, I'm going to give you this is my pure opinion. I do not have any
Okay.
facts or proof for this. So do not quote me on this being a fact. I believe that Rebney was formed in order to blockbust and keep people out of areas that they wanted in Manhattan. They didn't want certain ethnicities, races, sexes,
Interesting.
whatever. This is my opinion. So that's like the good old boys club, and they didn't want outsiders in. That's why they kept control of the overall governance of Manhattan.
Okay, so
real
you
estate.
have no MLS in Manhattan. Okay, so how does that rule apply to all those big brokerages in Manhattan? So let's go back to Jersey. Now I have New Jersey.
Well, look at Halstead. Halstead's in Jersey and New York City.
Right.
So how do you comply in one state but not the
Right,
other?
exactly. So Halstead's in Montclair in my
Yep.
area. They don't do a lot.
They
in
bought
my
Rhodes
area.
Van Note.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I asked you about
Yeah.
that. So, but what ended up happening? So, okay, so I have New Jersey MLS, Garden State MLS. You come into my office and you say, "Hey, Matt, I want to sell my house in Nutley, but I don't want to put it on the MLS." Okay, give me your listing. I could take it. All right. That's as far as I can go with marketing. I can't do shit. I can't do anything else.
Can't put it in the grocery store. Nothing.
I can't even put it in a store. I can't do anything with it. I can't even post it on my social media page.
So again, being rather visionary in this business and seeing how people operate before they even know what they think about operating on, it's as if they're trying to create a free listing platform content, right? So the MLS has a free listing or is going to have a free listing platform nationally where a seller uploads their own pictures, price their own property, does all the bells and whistles, kind of like eBay where suggested price to sell the home. They put it all together in one platform. That drives buyers to this one national platform, and then the MLS or a realtor, whoever, will then sell the leads back to realtors to service them from a buyer standpoint, but it's going to eliminate the entire listing side and value, in my opinion, for people that sign up for that.
You think the MLS is smart enough to put something together like that?
I think that's where they're heading. I think they're going to
I don't think
council
so.
to do so.
I don't think so. I think what they're doing is trying to legislate people to comply so the weak link could get a little business. That's what I think. Now,
I can see that
I think
I can see that.
what they're doing here is kicking all the realtors in the teeth
completely
because
and not helping them.
now what's to stop another company to come along like an Amazon and say, "Hey, you want to sell your property? Put it up on Amazon for free." Boom. I think the MLS, they allowed Zillow.
You know who has this is a train of thought, but you know who has the upper hand here? People who don't speak English. Here's why. So if you speak Spanish, you speak Japanese, I'm missing Korean, whatever you speak other than English, let's say English is not your primary language, you have the upper hand as a realtor because now you're able to go into your community where most people who only speak the same language only trust people that speak the same language
Right.
and do all your business off market. Every one of your deals should be off
You
market.
can't.
If you're not a real, I'm saying you have your real estate license, but you're not a realtor.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. So I had reached out to one of the MLSs and spoke to them and said, "Well, what if I decide just not to be a realtor?"
That's it.
And she said, "Well, you can't do that." I go, "Sure, I can."
Yeah. Don't pay your fees. You got it. That's,
No, you opt out.
Well, that's in Manhattan. They're agents. They're not realtors. Manhattan people are not part of the Realtor Association.
They're not right. So somehow we got into this National Association of Realtors thing because Code of Ethics and blah blah blah. The whole thing initially was you couldn't get onto the MLS without being part of it.
Here's really what it boils down to. If you want to broker the sale of a home, fuck this wholesaling bullshit. I can't stand wholesalers. I think it's just the bottom of the barrel people.
That's a whole different.
Cut the shit
idea.
out.
Yeah.
First of all, what they should do is make wholesaling completely illegal.
I agree.
Illegal.
I
It jams
agree.
up deals, jams up banks, jams up
kinda-
pipelines.
It's a gray
hurts
area.
sellers.
It's a gray area.
It's illegal. It's illegal because you're collecting a fee on something you don't have a license to collect.
Exactly.
Now, if someone takes care of you for a consulting fee after the sale without deceiving a seller or a buyer, fine. That's up to them. They could pay you legally a consulting fee as an advisor, okay? But what really needs to happen is, hey, you want to list a home? You want to sell a home? Great, you have your license. Go out legally, compete, do business, do your own thing within these 5 rules. Don't lie to somebody, don't cheat somebody, don't steer a deal, present all your offers, and be a good human being. Those should be the 5 rules. It shouldn't be anything else more than that.
All this bullshit.
Hey, code of ethics. They're ignoring all the code of ethics that should be codes. I don't get it.
The wholesaling thing became popular in the last couple of years because of the
No one has money. No.
accelerating market.
And no one has money.
And, just like back in the day when, that flipping property, I think flipping property should become illegal, honestly, because here you are.
Yes and no.
Here you are taking a property, putting in, listen, all this stuff is great during an accelerating market, but all it's going to take is a shifting market. And I keep talking about
It takes 2 months down. That's it.
Yeah.
And we're already there.
People, well, not according to some people,
Yeah.
but I still think we're going to see, here's what I see. And this is my opinion. And I'm watching the buyers of today and their attitudes and how they are.
Cocky, arrogant.
The younger buyers, number one, can't turn on a stove. Number two, they're buying a lifestyle. They want to be able to walk. They don't even want to buy a car.
Turnkey.
They just want to be able to Uber everywhere, walk downstairs, get their coffee, kind of like where we were today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They don't want to buy homes.
You're right.
I think what we're going to see is a softening of real estate, middle of second quarter, third quarter next year.
Before the election.
We're going to see a bump. Well, number one, we're in an election year and everybody's so bent about this whole election bullshit. I'm watching, the Fed and what they're doing with the monetary policy. I don't think we're ever going to see interest rates above 5 ever again, because we've had such artificially suppressed rates in the last 10 years that even if you bump at a point, you go to 4.5%, people start crying.
Well, no, you look at fourth quarter of last year.
Yeah.
Rates went to 5%.
Everything
and the market,
stopped.
Everything, literally, there was zero business
For that month
went
of
on.
November,
Yeah.
everybody stopped.
Correct.
So
and
now,
and everyone panicked. The world panicked.
the world
The
panicked.
world
Yeah.
panicked.
I think we're close to like 0 overnight lending rates right now,
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
to the point where our monetary policy is going to cause a recession.
So again, here's what people aren't understanding what I'm saying. They're all saying, "Oh, you're doomsday." I'm like, I'm not doomsday. I'm like, look here. For example, in 2007, are those mics still on? You're still good? Yeah, okay. So in 2007, for example,
Right.
let's say a house was worth $1 million at 7%. Okay. Rates drop down to 5%. That $1 million house goes to 500,000. Let's just say the market got clipped 50%, 40% in some areas in 08, 9, 10. Okay. Now today, that house that was $1 million is back to being worth $1 million, but rates are at 3.5%. So and the market's stalling right here, in my opinion. We're kind of at like a stalled top right now for whatever reason. Call it whatever you want. Now, if we know that at 7%, that house is worth $1 million, technically this valued asset has room to go up if someone once valued it at $1 million at 7% and rates now being at 3.5%. So in a perfect world, if the rates dropped in half from 7 to 3.5, and this $1 million property, right, was $1 million back then, technically should be worth $2 million in a perfect world. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Like $1 million at 7%, call it 7,000.
Yep.
$2 million at 3.5%, 7,000. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the market could technically run higher, but it doesn't mean the individual consumer who owns that home, that works a blue-collar job or works a salary where they're not getting a raise, inflation, cost of living is at an all-time high, that's what's going to cause the problems in the real estate market where Joe, Dick, Harry, Sally, and their families, right, can't afford not to be able to refinance again because rates can't really go much lower. They keep racking up the personal loans, the credit card debts, the colleges,
We're
the
going
gas,
back to that again,
the
right,
tolls,
right.
the cars. Everyone's buying new cars again because car dealerships are giving deals away, not $700 a month, now $600 a month.
Right.
And consumers are the ones that are getting screwed. Now, look, the top 5% of Americans are the only ones that benefited over the last 10 years. The other 95% of Americans are still status quo or still trying to get out.
And you touched on a point here because, they're saying we've been in the country's longest economic recovery.
Longest bull run in the history of America.
Right. I agree with that. But what I'm seeing, and the reason why I got out of the creative industry, like 5 years ago, I basically retired from the creative world and I opened up my office because I saw the way it was going. And yes, there's jobs out there. Yes, more people are working, but wages have kind of been flat and declining. Just because you create more jobs at Walmart,
right.
At
minimum wage.
A job I used to get paid, $250,000 a year for, now somebody's doing for $30,000 a year, $40,000
right out of college.
Right. Out of college with student debt.
Making $40,000 a year.
And that's a whole nother subject. I really do think that, I think that our schools, number one, are teaching the wrong thing, and they have been for 60 years.
Which we all know, right?
But I say this, and people look at me like I have three heads. And I said, listen, remember who created the school curriculum back in the early part of the 20th century? It was people, captains of industry, who helped the government create the curriculum to make the worker bees when they got out of school to run the factories and run. Right. We're not in that industry anymore. But we're still telling kids, go to college, get a good job.
Learn about history.
Go to college, get a good job.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone that has a job anymore that they're going to be at for 30 plus years.
Very rare, unless maybe, and not even police officers these days.
No. And that's right. They're not even there at 30 years. But I think they're not teaching the curriculum in school. Number one has to change.
I was talking to a friend last night, one of my attorneys, and she said to me, yeah, we were talking about IRS and debt and own this and that, whatever, right? You can still get a loan if you have a tax. If you owe the IRS money, you can still get a loan as long as you're on a payment plan and you're current. We were working out numbers. Mm-hmm. She's like, yeah, I owed the IRS $71,000 for X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I pay my payment every month. My balance is now $102,000. I've paid the payment on time because they're giving her an 8. When you have IRS tax debt, the rate that they put the loan out at is 8.25%.
Isn't that great?
So they're borrowing at zero because it's phantom money. They're saying you owe taxes. So they're taking debt that you owe and they're putting it at 8.25%. Mm-hmm. She makes the minimum payment every month, which is $200 a month. So it's like negative amortization with the mortgages. So the federal government that knocked the banking industry on negative amortizing loans that caused the collapse is doing the same exact thing to people individually.
Well, it's interesting because
imagine that.
I look back at when I bought property. When I bought property back in the late 90s, it was for cash flow. And it's very simple. If your rent income exceeds your taxes, mortgage, and insurance, you got cash flow. Then I'd say it's a good investment, cash flow. Now what I'm noticing is, especially in Jersey, in North Jersey where I am, the real estate taxes have become so out of control.
Yeah, they're egregious.
That some of them, the taxes, your monthly tax bill is higher than the damn mortgage. That's the problem now. So I'm suffering, like in my town, we have lack of inventory. And I look at my numbers every day. I know right now, right off the bat, that the median priced home in Nutley is like $429, 60 days, the days on market, and average tax bill is about $10,000-$12,000, and I have 122 homes on the market. I know what's in Nutley. I know what's going on.
Now, of those 122 homes, how many would you say are overpriced, realistically?
30%.
That's it?
I would say about 30% overpriced.
So you're saying 70% are priced pretty accurately, and they're still not moving.
But the reason they're moving, but the problem is the tax rate.
8,000, 9,000.
So in Nutley, if you want to buy a home, and I'm not discouraging anybody, everybody should buy a home in Nutley, number one. The average home is about $400,000. For $400,000, you get a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, side hall colonial that was probably built in 1928.
And a backyard.
You get a little backyard.
Parking.
The average lot is about 100 by 50. Okay. That's the average lot. Right. Parking is at a premium. We have 3 square miles, 12,000 households.
12,000 households?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of homes in a little area. Yeah. Well, they're adding condos and so on. Yep. It's very dense. Yep. We're basically a suburb of New York City. Yep. 90% of my clientele comes from New York City and the outer boroughs. Mm-hmm. And I would say 95% find me on social. That's how people connect with me. Of course. And that's what I use to leverage my business, going back to that.
Why not? You're a local market expert.
Right. So that was the other thing. When I first opened my office, I was spending marketing dollars in areas I was working. Like I was working up in Wyckoff, Franklin Lakes, West Milford.
Spread too thin.
I was spread too thin. So I decided to like bring my budget down and go boom, tip of the spear, which was
Hyper-local.
Nutley, hyper local. And that's what I preach all the time. Hyper local marketing. Everything I do, I do very little print. I do one billboard. The billboard that's there is when you're leaving and coming into town, and that's it.
I only did the Bronx. I think I told you this from the day I started through 2013. I only had an office in the Bronx, and I only street ground and pounded the Bronx. Now, obviously, I closed a deal for somebody from a cousin or attorney referral in Brooklyn or Queens or Manhattan or wherever else. I always went everywhere, right? But the Bronx is where my hub was because I'm like, I think on average at the time, there were anywhere from 400 to 1,400 deals per month. That's a big number, but
Wow.
depending on the time frame and what was going on. So like on the low end, 400 deals a month in the Bronx alone. On the high end, 1,400 at the time. So I'm like, well, if there's 400 deals here, I gotta be able to get 10 of them,
Yeah,
20 of them,
Why not?
15 of them,
Yeah,
right?
why
So
not?
that's what I focused on. I wasn't like running around all over the place. Like, I'm
See,
like,
I
what
would
are
have
you
been
guys
scared
doing?
shit to go into the Bronx.
Well,
I don't
you
even
know
think
what's
now
funny?
I would go
You
into
know
the
what's
Bronx.
funny? So it's funny. A lot of people like yourself still have this like Bronx is burning mentality from
Yeah, Fort Apache to Bronx.
right. But people still think that, and that's what
Right.
stunted the growth for so long before the numbers are like, wow, if Brooklyn's selling, and here's what I talked about my friend the other day. If Brooklyn's selling for $1 million for this house, I can get this house for $600,000 in the Bronx. Great, I'm getting it at a discount. Well, you're not, because the Bronx is in Brooklyn, right? And the rents aren't what you're getting in Brooklyn.
Right,
There's a
right,
reason
right,
why,
right,
you know.
right,
This
right.
is a brownstone. This is
Right.
a 3-family, framed attached house. Like it's a 3-family in Brooklyn.
I don't know
Same
much about the
3-family.
Bronx, but recently I learned about the Riverdale section of the
Riverdale.
Bronx.
So I call Riverdale Manhattan, if that makes sense, right? So like
Okay.
Riverdale is an extension of Manhattan. It's in the Bronx.
It's a
Bronx,
wealthy,
Texas.
affluent area, though.
Very wealthy, very Jewish, very
Old money?
secluded. A lot of
Okay.
old money.
Okay.
Yes, to answer your question, yes. But Riverdale is the Bronx. Why do they call it Riverdale? Because they don't want to be associated with the Bronx.
Got
See what I'm saying?
like
oh,
we
I'm from
did
Riverdale.
in,
I'm
yeah.
like, no, you're from the Bronx. Like,
We
any
had
which way
that-
you want to slice this, you're from the Bronx.
We
you know?
had that same in Jersey over there. We had a town called Patterson. We still have it, but there was a place called West Patterson.
Yeah.
So West Patterson said we don't want to be associated with the Patterson. We're going to call ourselves Woodland Park.
Right.
So now they're Woodland Park.
Right.
That's the interesting. We got a
Hey, we got a couple minutes to close out. But so, I mean, look, at the end of the day, it really boils down to, I believe that, I don't care what industry you're in, like, you need to pay or compensate or do something with or for somebody that has knowledge, whether it's your, manager in your office, like they deserve to get paid. If you're expecting somebody to teach you the business, they're due to be compensated. And, I think unfortunately losers in the industry, people have never really made real money. When I say real money, I'm not talking about $100,000 a year. I'm talking about $250,000 a year or more in your selective industry. Like, if you're looking for a mentor, this isn't free. This is business, right? So why I believe in what I'm doing is the whole coaching and advising is because people don't want their boss or their manager or their whoever, CEO, to earn off of them for whatever reason. It's stupid, and it's probably because they don't respect them or they don't respect themselves. Like, you need to hire a professional that's done what you're trying to do. Like, if I want to be in the NFL and I want to be a quarterback, I'm going to Drew Brees, I'm going to Peyton Manning, I'm going to Tom Brady, I'm going to Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to the guys that have done it, that have won. But in real estate, it's like, no, I don't want to be with Matt. I'm not giving Matt 30% of my commission. Meanwhile, you have nothing. It's like, well, there's office, there's overhead, and there's value.
Yeah.
So I price my coaching and advisory numbers so high, so I weed the bullshit out. Now I can tell you for a fact, 90% of people I coach, I don't actually charge them anything.
Funny you said that.
I don't charge them anything. You know why? I'm like, I know you don't have it, but one day you're going to have it. Or you know what? Here, give me 2 deals. Here's how you can put money in my pocket. If you get me 1 or 2 deals, I'll throw in 10 coaching sessions for free for you. But this isn't a, hey, let me pick your brain. Hey, can you do this pro bono for free? You're making out like a bandit. You're taking my 12 years of experience. I'm getting nothing from it. You're getting the proper advice, and you're giving your income somewhere else.
I have 3 pillars that I kind of work on and how I base my business and my foundation. One, I told you on the way in here, was circle of influence, circle of concern. If you focus on the circle of influence, your influence will expand. If you focus on your circle of concern, which is the bullshit, like, I'm concerned about who's sleeping with who's doing that.
Drama,
that expands. Okay, so I learned that. Circle of influence is one. What was the next one we were going to talk about? Top. Everybody, if you're a realtor, mortgage, I don't care who you are, you have to understand the marketing funnel and top of the funnel marketing. You've heard of the marketing funnel before and how it works, right?
Yep.
That's another pillar that I think is very important. And then last but not least is what they call the compound effect. Doing small things every day that add up to big results. Agents come to me all the time. They're like, what do I do? How do I get business? What do I do to get business? Like, I came up with this thing, 3-30-30, which was basically 3 platforms: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all right? 30-second video for 30 days. Do it. 30 days straight, nonstop. And tell me, if you don't gain 1 or 2 pieces of new business from that, you're doing something wrong.
Interesting.
But a majority of people will, and it's very simple. Grab your phone. Hey, this is Matt Fede from Real Estate Executives. Today this is what's going on in the market. Put on the platform. Do that for 30 days. And I guarantee you,
I have to get something out of it.
I don't care what industry, if it's banking, if it's insurance,
whatever,
if it's mortgage. Yeah. If you do it for 30 days, it's very simple. Again, compound effect, consistency. Those 3 pillars are what I go by every day. And when I learned that circle of influence, my business got that much better. Because now I'm focusing on what I do. I don't care about what Joe does or this guy does or who's sleeping with who or who's going out for drinks, who's doing this. I'm focusing on my business. I'm here. I got on a train to get here because this was important to me for my business. Now, maybe 2 people can watch us here. That's 2 more people that know about me. So that's how I see it.
So as we close up the show, we always make somebody, the guest, give a deposit that to all the listeners, viewers. So what's one thing you want to leave everybody that's listening today or that's going to be listening to this episode with in order to implement in 2020?
Focus on your business and yourself.
That's it. Clean and simple.
Clean and simple. Focus on your business and yourself. Be consistent. If you eat consistently good every day, you're going to have better health. If you work out every day consistently, you're going to be in better shape. If you focus on your business every day consistently, you're going to have a better business.
So I hope you guys all listen to it. Thank you for tuning in.
Deposit that shit.